Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stampin' Up with Jaimie. Today I have a beautiful and soft, really feminine card to share with you. And it comes from the 2019 Occasions catalog through Stampin' Up, and it's all from the Floral Romance Suite. The way Stampin' Up designs a lot of the suites in the catalogs are for our own benefit. So a suite includes a whole bunch of different products that perfectly color coordinate together with their design, their look, as well as colors, and everything kind of works perfectly together. So in this case, I'm using the bundle, which is the wonderful romance stamp set here. This is really pretty. It's got some great florals here and really, really nice sentiments. I'm always a sucker for a good sentiment. And the one that we're using today is this Thinking of You down here. You are the best thing I never knew I needed, and then together is a wonderful place to be. This is a great sentiment for wedding cards, but I really think that you can get a lot out of these. Of course, my favorite is the Thinking of You, because I do love to send cards just for no reason, just because I happen to be thinking of someone. It coordinates with the framelit, the thinlits. Let's see here. Wonderful floral framelits dies. That's a mouthful. And these are just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dies. We're going to be using this guy today and a couple of these leaves. This big guy here coordinates with that big floral image that I showed you in the stamp set. And as you can see, I have this beautiful lattice on my card today. And I have to admit, the first time I opened up these thinlits, I was like, oh no, I didn't get them. And then all you have to do is flip it over. There they are. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this off because we're going to be using this today. Beautiful lattice with this kind of vine going down the side of it. Really pretty. So this is a bundle. So you get, if you buy them together, which has its own special product number, you will save 10%. So you definitely want to do that. And now during celebration, just ordering this bundle will earn you one free item from the celebration catalog. Again, if you don't have any of these catalogs, please let me know. Shoot me an email or a message or on Facebook. Somehow there's lots of ways to get a hold of me, and I would love to pop a catalog in the mail for you. So don't miss out on this. You're definitely going to want this product. So let's just go ahead and dive in today for the card. My card base here is the Petal Pink cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And the first thing we're going to do is use this beautiful lattice here. Now, sorry, it has a little leftovers from last time. If I were to kind of put this flush to the bottom here, you're going to notice that it kind of runs off. And I did take that in consideration when making today's card, so I'm going to show you how I kind of overcame that. The framelit, the thinlit itself, it cuts all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top. So it goes end to end. It's super long. And if I were to have put that flush to the top, my lattice isn't even. It's a little lower than it is higher. And I didn't really want that. I kind of wanted it centered. So I kind of, I did. I made the bottom flush. Okay, so this is the bottom of my card. And I put that thinlit right to the bottom. And then what I did, and I'll do it for you, is when I ran it through the Big Shot, I ran it until the center where I had scored the card. I didn't run it all the way through. Like, I didn't put it all the way through back and forth. I stopped it right there. If I would have accidentally go over, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It just means on this side of the fold, I would have had a little bit of the lattice cut out. Again, not the end of the world, but not quite the look I was going for. I was really trying to stop it right in the middle. And as you can see, I pretty much did. I have a little bit at the top that I missed, but that's okay. So let me get my Big Shot. I apologize, this is going to take up most of the screen here, but I'm going to try and maneuver it so you can kind of see how I position things. I'm using the magnetic platform because this is going to hold my thinlit nice and still and not move around. I'm going to go from bottom in first. I apologize for the glare off of that thinlit. And again, flush to the bottom and try and get that. You're going to notice that the lattice kind of goes in and out. It has a little curve to it. So don't mind that. Just try and get it straight otherwise. Don't go necessarily by the flowers. Okay, so where's my other, there it is, at the top of my platform. Like so, we're going to do a nice little sandwich. And I'm going to go slow because I really kind of want to get a feel as I crank it through when it's going to hit that middle. And honest to goodness, there's no real way of knowing this except for kind of gauging. I think that's about right there. Maybe a little bit further, but I don't want to push it. I'd rather have it almost not cut the lattice out all the way than to have it go over to the other side. And what I did when I created the card that I did earlier is I kind of took a little peek. Yeah, I didn't go quite to the top. I guess I could have gone a little bit more. There's some leftovers here. Let me run, I'm just going to run it through a little bit more. Not a whole much though. I pretty much had it. Oop, it's already starting to fall off. There we go. So just a bit more. And it doesn't hurt it going through multiple times. Maybe there. Let's see how it turned out. Get rid of that. And when you take this off, oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You're kind of left with this, right? Because I didn't cut it all the way through. So then all you do is you take your paper snips and give it a little bit of a haircut here at the top. That piece falls off. We don't need that. And we're left with this gorgeous lattice. Look at that. So pretty. And there's a couple of guys at the top here that didn't quite come through all the way. You can fiddle with them or leave them. But I pretty much got right to the middle. So it's all a matter of just going real slow, taking your time, and kind of getting a feel. When it goes, there's like a little, you can almost feel like when you hit this bump. I don't know. You just gotta, it's like got a feel to it. So just kind of go slow. I'm going to adhere a panel of Whisper White cardstock on the inside of my card, mostly so that this pops. I mean, you do see the lattice work, but it's when you put the white underneath that it really, I feel like it pops even more so. So this Whisper White is, what did I measure it at? 5 1/4 by 4. And that's just gonna go in the middle of, or the inside, excuse me, inside of my card, like so. Okay, again, this is the card we're working on, so we're getting there. Let's work on this guy here. This is, let's see here. I'm using Fresh Fig, and if you missed it, again, these are the thinlits, and I used this guy to cut them out. I already did it ahead of time for us. And like I said before, we're using the Thinking of You stamp set, or stamp from the Wonderful Romance stamp set. And I'm gonna use embossing powder. Oh, I just realized I didn't plug in my heat tool. I'm gonna have to run over and do that. Anytime you're heat embossing, you're gonna wanna use Versamark ink. The Versamark ink just stays kind of wet longer and buys you time to sprinkle it with the embossing powder. And you always wanna use an embossing buddy, especially if you're using a darker color, although I use it all the time, when you're heat embossing, just because it gets rid of all the static on the cardstock that you're using, because if not, even just touching the paper, the powder is going to want to stick to any static that's on the card, or again, like I said, if you're like holding it, your fingerprint, anything like that. Okay, so stamp in the Versamark ink and aim for center and straight. Hopefully you get it. Listen, if not, we just start all over again. It's not the end of the world. Oh, that looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna just generously sprinkle with the embossing powder. Always be generous. You can always tap off the excess like I'm doing right there, but once it's on, it's hard. Once it's heated, you can't like add to it if it didn't really cover well. Okay, give me a second. I just gotta plug in my heat tool. It's already on. Okay, so we're going to heat it with the heat tool. Be careful with your fingers. The heat tool does get very, very hot. You're just going to heat it until it turns from a powder to nice and shiny. As soon as it gets shiny, you're done. Don't overheat it because you will burn the paper. I've done that before. A couple of seconds, you're done. And like give it a few seconds, like literally seconds, just to dry and to kind of settle. Oh, I don't think it's perfectly straight, but it's gonna do. Okay. So I did a bunch of layering here. Let me kind of walk you through. Let's start from the bottom up underneath this. So the first thing I did is I used these, there's a bunch of them here, but I used the biggest and then the smallest leaf here. And I cut it out using Mossy Meadow cardstock. Now what's great about these leaves is that they cut the outside of them, I'm trying to get, there we go, as well as kind of embosses these like veins in them. So they have some really nice texture to them, which is great. Helps make it look even more real life, as opposed to if it was just to cut out the outside. So I'm just gonna put a little adhesive kind of like where I want them to go. And there's real no rhyme or reason when you're doing like an artistic design and whatnot. Just kind of have fun with it. Layer it up until you think it looks right. If it needs more detail, add it. If it doesn't, don't add it. And it's really, when you're kind of layering, it's hard to do a same card perfectly the same twice in a row. They always end up looking ever so, slightly different, which is fine. I then used the same fresh fig cardstock that we used earlier, but this time I used this guy, and I cut out 2 of them just to have more interest. They really, you don't see them a whole lot, but just gives the eye something else to look at, like that. Then, what did I do next? Then I took some silver thread. This is going to be hard for you guys to see because this stuff is, well, it's thread. It's like itty bitty small, but it's there. And I just love using thread. My goodness, it's one of those things that I kind of have to like hold myself back because I very easily could use it on every single card, especially in one like this that is more on the feminine, delicate side. And when I use thread, again, don't overthink it. I understand you can't really see what I'm doing because it's so little, but I just kind of let the thread do what it wants to do, and I kind of, how do I say it? I kind of let it wind, like loop. That's what I want to say. I let it loop. And don't try and control it too much because it's really going to want to do what it wants to do regardless. And then I give it a little trim. And again, it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. It just adds another little element. Even on the card, it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. And just adds another, like, something fun for the eye to look at. This thread is great. It comes in the silver, gold, copper. There's a rose color. Am I forgetting one? Silver, gold, copper, rose. I think those are the ones. Okay, and then next I took this beautiful ruffled fresh fig ribbon. This is from the annual catalog. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Again, lots of texture in this ribbon. It's got a nice ruffle to it. And I just folded it over kind of like a banner's end. And this time I kind of wanted this one going, everything's kind of pointing up, but the ribbon I kind of wanted pointing down. And I just, again, don't overthink it. That's the best thing I can say, is when you're kind of layering and building different images on top of each other, don't overthink it. Now I could have just stopped there and I think it would have been very pretty. Let's just see, that's what that would have looked like. Very pretty, right? However, I really loved this gorgeous, gorgeous paper from the Floral Romance Specialty Designer Series paper, which if you can say that quickly, I applaud you because it is definitely a mouthful. It's Specialty Designer Series paper because it comes with 2 sheets of vellum paper, and it's vellum. It's got you know, like see-through, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. There's one that's more of like a petal pink kind of look to it, and this one's a floral one. So what I did, and I'm not going to do it for you now because it is fussy cutting and it is a little time consuming, but I took my pair of paper snips, which by the way, if you do not have a pair of paper snips, you absolutely need them because they're perfect for fussy cutting. And I just picked, I don't know, I think it was like this one, this image, and I just cut it out. Went all the way around, and cut it out. Now, this one's a little different. That's the one I cut out this time around. It's not quite as big. The one on my card that I did for you here is just a little bit bigger, but the same idea. And then I kind of decided, again, this one's a little different, so I have to decide how I want. Let me just think this through. I should have cut out the exact same one. I think I'm going to do it like that. Will that fit if I do that? Yeah, I think I'm going to do it like that. I apologize for my cough. I'm still getting over my cold. It's lingering and it doesn't want to go away. So I'm just going to adhere this down. I think I want it like, it is definitely different than the one I did in my example, but that's okay. That's okay. Yep, that works. So, and again, this paper is still in that suite. It all works together. Stampin' Up! Designed all of these different elements to perfectly work together and coordinate together. It really makes stamping, project making, card making, scrapbooking, any kind of paper crafting really mindless. And that's what I love about Stampin' Up! They do the hard work for us, really. Next, just to add one more element to the card, because why not? I love texture. I love different elements. I'm using the frosted flower embellishments, again from the suite. And this comes with, you can see it's all cut up. You get a bunch more, but I just finished cutting up all my ribbons and embellishments and paper for my product share. And this is the little piece that I was left with. But you get, I think, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think you get like 12 of each color, I think, in this. And you get the Fresh Fig, Petal Pink, and Whisper White. So let's see here. And actually, when I did this one, the reason why I did that is underneath these guys are a Fresh Fig flower and a Petal Pink and a Fresh Fig. So I just kind of covered them and made them a little bit more noticeable. So I think that I'll do the same thing. There's a Fresh Fig. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Fresh Fig flower there. And oops, come here. Don't run away. And then a Petal Pink one there. So I think I'll just add, let's see, should I add 3? I think, you know, you're supposed to do everything in thirds. You know, that's what they say, like in design, when you're gardening or if you're doing design, everything in thirds. So we'll add a third one. We'll add a Petal Pink one right there. Now, because there's all this stuff going on back here, it will naturally raise the back of this if I were to adhere it. So I don't necessarily recommend using snail for this. And for that reason, I've decided to adhere everything down using Stampin' Dimensionals. Well, because I love Stampin' Dimensionals, but it also, you kind of need it. Everything's so raised on this side that it would be hard just to use snail to have it all stay down, really. Come on. And these are just like stickers. You put the one end down and then you peel the back and down it goes. Okay. And let's see here. How did I do this? I didn't really aim for the center of the card. I kind of aimed for the center of this kind of solid strip here. We're going to go with there. Ta-da! And there we have it. That's the end of the card. Very similar. Again, because it's kind of like that artistic feel, it's going to look a little bit different. No two are going to come out perfectly the same, but really easy to use with the different elements from that Floral Romance Suite. Definitely head over to my store to pick up these products today. And remember that celebration is going on. So you reach that $50 mark in your order and you're going to get a free item in the celebration catalog. And there's lots to choose from. There's stamp sets and ribbon and paper and foil sheets. And oh my goodness, there's so much to choose from. So you're definitely going to want to reach that $50 mark. in order to get you a celebration item. And I'll post a link to my store underneath this video here so that you can hop right over without any difficulties. If you have any questions about any of the product that I've used today, or about any of how I did the lattice or anything at all, definitely let me know. I'd love to be a help to you. I do appreciate you watching my video today. Definitely hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss out on any of my videos, and I hope to see you around next time. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Happy stamping.